Hey gang, so we got the drop of Alpha 324, which is kind of cool. The live drop. One thing I like to say, and I'll say this in the intro here, just because if you're going to watch anything, it's probably going to be this. Whenever they drop a patch to live, always wait at least through the weekend to jump in, because there's always like game-wrecking bugs. If you're used to that and you can take that, don't worry about it. Jump in, have fun. There are some nasty bugs. They're kind of humorous. They won't destroy your playthrough, but you might lose some gear, so heads up. I never bring in a new player until after the first couple hot fixes are in, and there will definitely be some. That said, I got a few things to talk about here, so let's get this. All right, so I was going to go through, I just did my video on things I was planning on doing for the channel coming up. I knew 324 would be dropping, I thought in like the next week, but I thought it might be next week because the latest Evo patch, or not Evo, but PTU patch was kind of rough, and I was kind of like, it regressed a little bit. So turns out that they knocked out a couple bugs and they said good enough, and here we are. So what I was going to do here is just kind of go through 324, just kind of talk about the things that are actually in the patch now, because that's kind of changed a little bit, not much from where I had it. They changed a couple of the mechanics. I was going to talk about those and actually show them. And then I was going to talk about a couple ideas that I didn't talk about in the things I'm going to be doing in the channel update. So if all that sounds good, let's start going through it. So up front, we got Alpha 324 here. If you haven't seen the video yet, it actually is pretty amusing. I am pretty sure that is Jared Discolando doing the singing on it. He originally, if I remember right, he was a theater teacher originally, which is one of the reasons they kind of went into like media production. He's got a pretty good voice. So, I mean, it's a funny song, but he can sing. So look forward to that. The trailer for this patch is pretty amusing. Cargo Empires is what they're calling it, which is a little funny. One of the things that was supposed to be in this patch that I was most excited about was the new economy, not necessarily Quanta or Quantum, which I think they changed to, what was it, Star Fund or something like that, whatever it was. They changed the name of it. The background economy, that wasn't coming, but they were going to do an update to the existing economy, kind of like a bridge where they were going to rebalance everything. That's been chucked. So effectively what would happen is you would go to, let's say, Lorville, and you'd be able to pick up ship weapons and all kind of ship parts and hardcore manufacturings like processed and refined metals and stuff like that. And then you'd go to Crusader and you'd be picking up refined ship parts and things like that. Instead, what we're going to be getting is the baseline items that we already had at the locations that we already had. The things they are going to add are cargo missions. But if you go to Lorville or any of the mainstays, so New Babbage, Orison, or Area 18, the only items you will be able to buy, the only commodities you will be able to buy are waste and scrap. So if you're a trader, other than spawning your ship initially, there is no reason to land at the major cities, because you can't buy anything there. You can sell just about everything at the TDDs. But yeah, unfortunately, the new economy is not in there. But the things they do have are cargo elevators and cargo missions. The cargo elevators come up in your persistent hangar, which is truly persistent now. It is your hangar at your starting location. You can put boxes there. You can sort of see what they're doing here. They're selling chairs and couches and I think tables and stuff like that you can kind of set up in your hangar, and they will persist in that hangar. If you go and you land a station and do the same thing there, that won't persist. It's just at your starting location. Load up, now you have to manually load your ship, or you can opt to have it done automatically, but that's going to take a certain amount of time. And if you're in a little ship, it might be worth it. By the time you've gotten back to where your ship is, it'll probably be loaded. If you're in something like in this picture, which is a C2 Hercules, you might have to take like an hour off and go and read a book or something while it loads your ship. So much more advantageous to grab a friend and load your ship that way. Create an empire, that's dubious, at least at this stage in Star Citizen's development. Create an empire, maybe in your head, you could do that. But the consistency and stability just won't be there until server meshing is in. So this one's aspirational at this point. You could certainly log on with a couple friends. One of the things that the Carnival is going to be doing in just a little bit, maybe even tomorrow, we'll see, is start dropping on the regular through this patch and trying to crew up a Caterpillar and kind of do the missions and stuff like that. And I'll be recording that. So that'll be one of the things that we'll be doing on this channel. And who knows, we might get bored and take out a Argo raft, or maybe a whole sea. We were planning on doing the whole sea back when they first dropped it, but it was so bugged for so long that we gave up on that idea and just did bunkers, basically, because that's the only loop that is working. But anyway, scroll on down. So Cargo Empire, this is just the trailer I was talking about. Worth a watch, pretty funny. Freight elevators, talked about that. Instance locations, talked about that. Persistent personal hangar. So again, if you want to have like a junk heap before your personal hangar, you can certainly do that. Ship elevators. Yes, ship elevators. So now in your hangar, when you call up a ship, if you go to the original kiosk and call your ship there, it'll be sitting in your hangar, but you can in your hangar call up ships. And basically what it'll do is if you have a ship active in your hangar, that'll go down on the elevator, the doors will close. A few seconds later, the doors will open and the elevator will come back up with whatever ship you requested. If you take that ship and move it off, if it's something small, like say a mule or a dragonfly or like one of the driven vehicles, even if it's like a smaller ship like a Fury, if you move it off to the side so it's not taking up the footprint, you can request a bigger ship. The elevator will go down, it'll come back up, and that littler ship will persist as long as it doesn't interfere with the footprint of the bigger ship. So persistence carries over. To be safe, move it off of the elevator though. Cargo management. I'm still not 100% sold on this. I've done this a few times. One of the things I'll show you is how they've redone the kiosk and inventory scene, even from where I did sort of the 324 PTU kind. Okay, so here we are at Everest Harbor. I flew up last night just to kind of move some stuff here, but I thought that I would go ahead and show you one thing that's definitely changed, and also something that I forgot to mention, that last little spiel, is that Orison right now is apparently having some kind of a problem. It seems like it is limited to medium ships, but it might not be. They'll definitely hot fix it so you can spawn ships at Orison, but if you're jumping in like tonight or tomorrow, just be warned that Orison might not be a safe place to make your starting location. In a week from now, if you're watching this next week, it'll probably be fine. That's just the way these early patches go. But one thing that's changed is the kiosk here. So if I come up here and I click use, you'll remember that what used to happen is you could see the screen and it would have your sort of local inventory on this side, and then it would have your drawer over on this side. And if you look at it for a quick second, like right before it flashes to this old school inventory screen, you can actually see it's doing that. You don't have the drawer anymore. So what used to happen is you'd have all of your stuff over here. You'd have to move it into the drawer, and then you'd have to click open drawer, and then it would open up this inventory screen, basically emulating you open the drawer and being able to put it on yourself. Now, when you interact with the kiosk is the only way you can interact with the local inventory. Anything on your person, I'll show you that in a second, but this is the only way that you can interact with whatever's stored at the location you're at, is to go to a kiosk, then you'll be able to do it. It'll open up the regular inventory screen, and then you'll be able to do it. You can't just do it anywhere you want to. But one thing I wanted to point out here is another nifty little neat and interesting bug here is that there's no paper doll. So if I wanted to put this on myself, you can kind of hear it clicking, but there's nothing there. But if I rotate the camera around, there I am. And now I can interact with everything. So that is how you do it. And it's interesting that the screen didn't change here. That's a little sad. But anyway, that is how you interact with that kiosk. Now, one thing that Ghost was saying, and unfortunately I don't have a box here to try out. Let's go to the hangar real quick. And now I can show you the other thing. So if I'm out here and I click inventory, the only thing I can interact with is the inventory on my character. So I can interact with my backpack, I can interact with my core armor, I can interact with my leg armor, I can interact with what I have on. So I could drop it on the floor, or I could take this gun and put it in my backpack, but I can't interact with my local inventory. So bear that in mind. Now let's go to the hangar. So to test Ghost thing, I just came here to the cargo center. I'm going to buy a box and some drinks, because when I tried to do this earlier, this was a huge pain in the butt. So we're going to see if he is correct on this. So I am going to get, let's just get a 1/8 store box here. And let's get some crews. You can never have enough crews. 6, sure, that's fine. One nice thing about the early patches, nobody's standing on chairs yet. So one thing I wanted to show you is I have not actually called up a ship yet. If you land here, you should have a default hangar here that's yours. You can sort of see you've got docking port 1, docking port 2, and then you've got all of the pads, which is normal, but you're not going to have any more hangars. You'll just have your hangar. So let's go to that. So you'll notice, since I didn't call up a ship, there's nothing here. Now the cool thing is, again, I can come over here to hangar services, call it my ship, so that hasn't changed. And we've got storage access right here where you can access your inventory, so you don't have to go all the way back. The other cool thing, if you're into this sort of thing, is that if you come over to this little thing right here, and another one that I can show you, you have another ship terminal right there, which is kind of nice. They put them right next to each other. But now we're going to try Ghost's trick, because he said you could take, so right now, let's go ahead and look at this. This hasn't changed since the walkthrough, but I don't know how many people watch this. You've got your freight elevator here, and anything that you move from local inventory, including cargo that you buy, will come up on this. But there's a trick to getting that to work. If you buy cargo, it's not just going to be there. You got to come here, click this down button. Just show you this. Now the elevator is inaccessible because it's down in the station inventory is the way to think about it. So we're going to go here. And now here's the stuff that I bought earlier. This is the cargo elevator. So what Ghost was saying you could do is you could take this and just put it in the box. Ghost is a dirty liar. We'll do it this way? No, won't do it that way either. So what I think is going to happen without looking at it is you're going to have 6 bottles sitting on top of a 1 SEU box. Nope, there it is. Everybody talk about Ghost Mom. There we go. So that didn't work. There might be another trick to it. I'll double check with Ghost when we're dropping together, and if I'm recording that, I'll record his trick, because he's almost certainly got one. Let's go ahead and lower this because at the very least, I want to put it back in local inventory so I don't lose it. Because this hangar is not persistent. Automated cargo loading, again, this is what I was talking about. You can just sort of say, I don't want to move a bunch of boxes. I don't like playing Tetris. And you can have the system do it, and it'll take a lot of time. So it's basically time versus convenience. Hauling missions, again, if you go into your Mobiglass, they have missions for hauling. They also have the box running missions, and from what I understand, those scale up dramatically now, where you're moving 100 boxes or 100 SCU or 500 SCU places. But the hauling missions are the ones that are kind of brand spanking new, where things are coming up on cargo elevators at the various outposts. You're loading up your ship and you're moving on. Blockade Runner, this one's coming up. Let's see. So we've got the Sabre Peregrine. Yeah, so this one is it's the racer variant of the Raven. Interesting ship and interesting timing. Has no weapons, so it is purely a racer. It is really, really, really zippy. It is really fast. But no weapons, no QED, no what do you call it? The quantum burst, not the quantum burst. EMP, that's the word I was looking for. Doesn't have that, nothing. It is purely just for going from point A to point B, as long as that's a distance that's quantum drive can handle, very short distance. So it's kind of a drag racer. It's not as maneuverable as the small ships, so going into some of those really technical race maps would be kind of difficult in this ship, because for those things, you're trying to get through the turns as quickly as possible, but you're almost never going full speed when you're going through all those turns, because the flight model just doesn't handle that. You slam into walls and explode. This thing even more so. So if they introduce drag racing as another game loop, this would be a great one. Or yeah, just a straight line race with very few turns, this thing would be great. So if you're really big into the racing loop, this is the ship for you. If you're into anything else, I'd say give this one a pass. If you really want to try it out, I'd say buy it in-game when 4.0 drops and they put it in the game for in-game money. That's the other thing, is that price-wise, let's go ahead and look at that. $170. So this thing is more expensive than a Razor. Without weapons, it's got less utility. And that's if you're spending new money, it's $170. If you're not, it's $185. This thing is almost $200, and it is, outside of like the MPUV, probably has the least utility out of anything in the game so far. And even the MPUV has personnel, tractor beams, and cargo. So, I mean, even the MPUV does more than this thing. Very cool looking ship. And I'll talk now about the paints. The paints, I'm okay with that one. Okay with that one. That is sexy. And that is sexy. So, did I get the paints for my Sabre Raven? Yeah. Yeah, I did. That paint and that paint are fire. So yes, I got them. Would I spend $185 for this? No. Are they going to bring out another variant of the Sabre? I don't know. We've got the regular Sabre, we've got the Sabre Comet, we've got the Sabre Raven, we've got the Firebird, and now we have the Peregrine. I don't think they would bring one out with the EMP, because that would compete with the Intel Optane drive, one, which was exclusive with a whole other company. So CIG would be on shaky legal ground if they did that. I guess they could come out with an up-gunned version, one that has like bigger guns or 4 guns, something more like the Sabre, this base Sabre. But I would think we're probably tapped out on variants on the Sabre Raven, but guess we'll find out. Again, you can get all the paints. They've got the special Starlight paint, catch lightning. Yeah, so we're done there. But that is pretty much it for that. They do have some ship offers here. There's nothing really for sale in this group, but if you've been wanting a C2 or a Taurus or a Caterpillar, I think there's one more out there, Freelancer Max and the whole A, and the whole C, and the M2. Okay, they got a few of them. MPUV tractor. If you've wanted any of these vehicles at any point, they brought the RAF back. Basically all the cargo movers. For some reason, the Reclaimer, I'll get to the Reclaimer in just a second. I'll leave the picture up there so I remember. But if you wanted any of these ships, really easy to CCU to them now. Like if you've always been wanting to try them out. The RAF, for example, literally flies like a brick. Not maneuverable, not fast. Has one of the best interiors, in my opinion, in the game. Like this has I don't know what it is about Argo, but when you're in an Argo ship, you feel like you're in a spaceship. Like it feels, especially with the Alien Romulus coming out, while the Reclaimer kind of gets the nod of being very similar to Nostromo. Argo just kind of nails the aesthetic of like 80s sci-fi, hard SF, like Alien sci-fi ships. It just does. Again, in my opinion, your mileage may vary. Reclaimer, so one thing, now that you have to manually load and unload your cargo, so when you're selling cargo, you have to move it off of your ship onto that cargo elevator, move the cargo elevator down, and now it's in local inventory for the station or the location, then you can sell it. The Reclaimer only has that one back elevator to move things down. And that elevator is not huge. So when you're asking for the cargo, keep that in mind, that anything bigger than like an 8 SCU box, which does fit on that elevator, is going to be tricky. You can fit the huge boxes onto that elevator, but it is a lot of Jenga. Like you have to put them vertical, get on the elevator, kind of move it up and move the box down. And it's a headache. And occasionally it'll cause glitches that'll cause the thing to yeet out of your ship or damage your ship in the process. So plan accordingly with your box sizes when you're pulling your Reclaimer. And keep in mind that unloading it now is a much larger pain in the ass than it was previously. So, yeah. Yeah, the Reclaimer, you're still going to be able to just print money, but you're going to spend a lot of time unloading that ship at the end of the day. So be prepared for that. Bring a friend. Vulture's back, C2's back. Okay, yeah, so that's it for that. They've got a new discounted starter pack, which is the Nomad for $76. And you get one of the cooler armors in the game, the Queerness Artemex. That's right. It's the armor that the elite units of Hurston wear, only this one's red. I think it's pretty cool. Again, your mileage may vary. And you can get Warbond versions, which are, I believe these come with LTI. New money, although it says upgrade. Oh yeah, that's right, because you can upgrade. So when you do the CCU and upgrade, you'll have an option of the standard version or the Warbond version. Take the Warbond version, might as well. And you can do that for the Max or the Whole C. Whole C should be working fine now. I did not test that in Evocati or the PTU because I was testing other things like the elevators, which is really what they wanted us to focus on. But I had read in the patch notes that it was all fixed, so in theory, it's all fixed. I would say proceed with caution because the Hull C has had some issues. And I'll look at the patch notes here because I'm pretty sure one of them mentioned the Hull C. So if you scroll down here to bug fixes, you can sort of see all the things that they fixed quite a bit. Technical updates, not as much. Known issues, let's do a quick scan. Here it is. Hull C cargo loads one box and stops loading the rest of the cargo mission boxes and remains at 000 time. That's a known issue. So yeah, Hull C, still proceed with caution. I still say they're making the loop for the Hull C too complicated. They need to kind of chill out with the whole undock, move to the area, go back, redock. There's just too much stuff involved in that. But anyway, guys, that's about all that I had on 324. The patch is actually running pretty stable. Frames seem to be pretty good. Again, depending on what you're running, your mileage may vary. Always double check to make sure that you have Vulkan on if you have a rig that can actually run it. One of the things, just kind of a quick update on what I'm planning on doing on the channel, because I've already talked more than I had planned to on this one, as usual. Fridays, right now it's Fridays. That's kind of what's in my head of a time that I have that would be pretty good for it. I'll run it by the org to sort of make sure that meshes with everybody else's schedules. But I was thinking of having it be a Friday fly day thing where the org just kind of goes out and either we record it when we're moving around with the Caterpillar or we do a live stream or two. We'll see. I'm always a little leery about doing live streaming just because of stream sniping, but I mean, this channel is 1,300 people, so I don't really think the whole world is watching my stream saying, hey, we're going to pick on the dude that's almost 50. It's just generally not how it goes. It's not how you make a name for yourself. And one other thing that I have that is completely unrelated to Star Citizen is I was going to spin up doing art on Sundays. Still haven't decided if I'll just pre-record it and put it up there, or if I'll just do a live stream. Live streams can be cool, but sometimes an art, especially with some of the more complicated pieces I'll be doing, there's a few that I'll be doing that'll just be sketches, and if I'm going longer than an hour, then I'm doing them wrong. But some of the ones that I'm doing earlier in the book, which is where I am right now for those illustrations, they can take hours or sometimes days. Obviously, that would not work for a live stream. So I might just play it by ear and sort of be like, this piece is going to take a little while. I'll take sort of shorts and kind of talk about the different parts of the process. And this is what it turned out at the end. And then on ones where I'm just kind of doing quick sketches, I'll just do that live because I should be able to bust those out pretty quickly. Other than that, gang, that's all I got for now. See you in the verse. Been a while since we've had a new patch, so got to make sure I'm pushing all the right buttons when I go out there. Again, still love this game, bugs and all. It's the only game where I can walk around in first person, walk on my ship, fly somewhere that I can see, land, hop out, all in first person, all without a screen change. Hopefully, and I've certainly said this a few times, next year is the year where they roll out Squadron 42. It takes pressure off the devs and they have the time to dedicate to server meshing. Hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to Pyro, whole new system. We'll see. Fingers crossed for all of that. Anyway, see you in the verse. Catch you next time.